Yeah, absolutely. You got a couple of different things coming in from her, and especially on the Q right now, does a lot more damage,
Yes.
and that's the big thing I think with the threaded volley coming in as well as her passive got a nice little update as well. So curious to see what people end up kind of going into her at this time, and the Kalista still being a very high priority. We actually have Kepler coming in for Yao Yao as well. So this is going to be again TT saying, like you mentioned earlier, getting away from the top side and saying, look, we're going to put all our eggs into the bot lane basket, and we're going to use that priority that we get with Ucal and Beichuan to make things happen.
Yes, and I like that we see the Sylas coming out in response. It's going to be something I was actually even going to highlight for a Weibo potential first pick, but with the Taliyah going over, TT decided to go towards this, already setting up for a composition that plays heavily with all in, just looking to dive on the back line on the side of Weibo. So I would expect the Aphelios to be locked in for them, considering you do have a lot of lower range champions on the side of TT, and then you could round it out with Viego. So maybe Viego, Aphelios kind of being this rotation for the side of Weibo.
See what they want to go for. Again, the Viego being picked up. SofM will get himself up to 18 games this split on the particular champion. If he makes it to Worlds, it's just going to be the champion he has to... It's just going to be banned against him, I feel like, at all times, unless we get some uber OPs. But we're going to see now the final pickup. I love the Amumu into this, especially with something like a Sylas. Getting that extra 10% through damage on your magic damage, and especially in the early skirmishes, is going to be so big for TT. And honestly, I think both sides are pretty happy with what they've gotten so far.
And I'm really curious to see what Weibo can end up going with if TT, right, you still have things like Alistar up. I don't think Weibo would really want that, considering Sylas on the opposing side. The Leona still there, could be a potential that TT look at banning. Then we're kind of left with Rom, Rakan, and just a bunch of enchanters for the side of Weibo. So Rakan maybe wouldn't be a bad shot, considering you are playing against On, and I think that is his best pick by far. And now for Weibo, time to see what they rounded out with top lane.
Yeah, we're going to see that the Gangplank banned away as well. So TheShy kind of saying, look, you can't take some safe blinds. We're going to make sure that you're in a little bit more of a interactive matchup, shall we say. And speaking of interactive, one that is not very interactive, you go tank v tank, is the Sejuani. So TT, though, having yet picked their jungler, they are going to have pretty much anything they want, really. No junglers were banned whatsoever on either side. So if the Viego is picked up, they can pick into whatever they want to go for. I do like the Lee Sin. It does give you that good early skirmishing power. I will say, though, that if you do end up giving over the Lee Sin over to someone like SofM, can be a bit detrimental as the effigy, but the Wukong does get locked and loaded. So again, big skirmishing powers coming out from TT. Big AoE team fights as they look to try and engage in that mid game.
I'm curious to see where Weibo go with their top pick. Kennen was another champion who got we'll just say change, because there were some buffs and there were some nerfs. Her late game damage now, I think if she goes late, could just be insane. Her Q really got some nice buffs early on, but a lot of hits to your E in terms of the cooldown and the cooldown refund make her a bit harder early on. So Weibo not going to go towards that, actually just going to end up going straight towards the Kennen. So Weibo so far is setting up for huge 5v5 prowess, able to come through. They need to round out their comp with some lockdown in my mind. So again, we still have things like the Leona being free.
Yeah, and the Leona just fits into On's champions, kind of wheelhouse so very well if you just want to end up going for it. I do think they need a little bit of extra engage, someone who's going to be a primary initiator there to work alongside the Viego and the Kennen. The Leona does that absolutely perfectly, and it has been creeping back up into priority. We did lose her for quite a while there. In spring, all we saw was her and Nautilus, so it's nice to kind of see her go out of meta and then come back in. We will see now TT thinking about where they want to go with this top lane pick into the Kennen. Honestly, I think the Orange just fits their composition so damn well, and even the Gragas as well, just something beefy and tanky just to kind of round it all out.
Going with something that could have a little bit of a neutral laning phase. I mean, Kennen with the range can look to bully him out, especially with those Qs, but Gragas into 90% of top lane matchups can honestly get through lane pretty decently, having the range from your Q, having the mobility with your E, and like you said, TT now also having another champion that can be able to go in. Everything in TT's composition is just about getting on the back line of Weibo and finding those kills. So a lot of pressure going to be on Angel and Huanfeng to be able to step up and make it through. The nice thing for Weibo's comp going against what TT drafted is that it should be pretty easy to find some high impact slicing maelstroms for TheShy when you already know everyone's going to be jumping into your team.
Yeah, absolutely. When you know they're all going to be clumped up as 5, the Kennen just works out very well in that particular situation. I will say as well is that if TT throw everything at Weibo, if Weibo just survived that initial kind of setup of the ultimates, there's not really a lot else that you can do outside of some, like, isolated skirmishes with the Sylas as such. So very curious to see what they're able to kind of go with this one. And for TT, they have put all their eggs into the dive basket, the 5v5, go for those big objectives. So they're going to be wanting to fight around those dragons. First and second Herald, I imagine we're going to be seeing some fireworks as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I think another distinction between these two comps in terms of how they want to fight, right? When you look at Weibo, it wants the traditional front to back. Maybe Kennen coming in on the flank, but still, like, everyone's set right in front of your 2 immobile carries. To where, for the side of TT, you're fine if fights break out into, like, let's say, more chaotic, smaller skirmishes, where Ucal's maybe fighting a 1v1 or a 1v2. You have Kepler and Yaya on one side, and everything just spread out. These, like, very high sustained bruiser champions really do thrive in that scenario, especially with the Kalista, who can just skirt around the whole fight.
We'll have to wait and see. No more theories, no more hypothesizing. We are jumping straight into the game. Game 1 of this best of 3 between Weibo and TT. Remember, we are getting to the state of the series, or even of the season, I should say, where you need to start racking up these wins. And against potential playoff opponents, there's never been a better time to come into form. No one really going to be doing anything. We're going to have a standard 5-point setup, really. No one going for any kind of aggressive move into here. And first strike onto the TheShy for the Kennen. So not going with the phase rush, which we tend to see, or even the electrocute. Going for more of a lane dominant thing that can scale a little bit well into the later stages.
First strike still gives you, like, burst with especially the true damage that comes through, kind of in the same veins of what you're looking to do with the electrocute, and obviously being able to stack up all that free income when you are going to be playing against the melee champion just feels really nice for the TheShy and top side. But for TT, I expect to be playing a lot more heavily around their bottom lane. You have a Gragas on top who's very self-sufficient. You have this Kalista Amumu who wants to constantly be looking for these aggressive trade patterns. So for TT, I already like that we're seeing a little bit of pizzazz with the level 1 invade, but look at SofM completely circumventing him. And both teams just going to trade buffs on opposite jungles.
Yeah, and again, it's a Viego. He's very self-sufficient, should be able to take this one without a leash in a pretty decent time as well. Knows that the Raptors are going to be taken there by the Wukong. So, and this is just the early vision they were able to put down. On went out, put that ward down in the Pixel Brush, recognized they were 3-man stacked, and kind of they just like slowly said, right, we're not going to be able to win this fight. Let's just move our way around. So we get a little bit of vertical jungling, but we're not really going to lose anything. So curious to see how both these junglers end up transition from this state. And as you can see now, there's Beichuan just kind of finding himself in the red buff, and he actually has no idea, I'm pretty sure, that the Viego's taking his bottom side camps.
No, I think he definitely doesn't. And considering that you can see as an engage comes out, just some nice trading, but SofM's taking all of TT's jungle. To where Beichuan did take 2 camps. Looks like he ended up leaving a small raptor, so the camp doesn't reset, which could be a bit of a pain, but SofM going to be getting so much more off this, going to go straight into the reset and probably head right up towards that top side where he has Prio with the Kennen.
Yeah, and again, you got Prio with the Kennen. You're going to have Prio in the mid lane as well. The Taliyah should be able to shove in the Sylas as well. So the top side of the map, where Beichuan is right now, is going to be very difficult for TT to really make things happen. Like you said, it's going to be more about that bot side and getting that mid-jungle support synergy going once you start seeing the post-level 6. Beichuan now going to go in towards this thing. And actually, this is very unfortunate in terms of the timing and the pathing because, like you said, not only did he not take the Krugs on the bot side, but he's also not taking his own Krugs. So wasting a little bit of his time and giving himself a little bit of an unfortunate moment here where TT kind of say, right, well, I guess we've been duped.
You can even see that they were expecting him to be there with the fact that they called their bot lane up, but yeah, for Beichuan, just gonna have to deal with that. Is Weibo, I think, set up really nicely with how the early game plays out. You've already highlighted both their solo laners do win their matchups outright, so it gives SofM a lot of freedom to look for invades, or if you want to like hover around mid, try and make sure no shenanigans get set up, and then start establishing that control of topside so the TheShy can keep playing like this for free and just bullying Hoya out of this lane matchup.
I mean, this is the difficult thing as well, is that most top lane matchups, yes, the Kennen will be able to get it. I might have to stop myself as Beichuan finds some bot side. Very difficult to really make this one work in the pre-level 6 stages, so I'll continue with my point. But the TheShy has been getting himself back up to the form. I've probably been one of his more vocal critics in the past of, some of his low lows as such, but he has started to show that form back when we, even 2020, where he was just absolutely slapping everyone in lane, and regular season the TheShy kind of proving again that, yes, he's limit testing, but he's doing exceptionally well at it.
We've heard throughout the years of players in interviews, even when the TheShy was being criticized about like how he's the hardest person to play against for most of the top laners we've had in the LPL. Even going back to 2020, where, you know, we did have some ridiculous moments from him. I think people forget that in one of the regular seasons, IG ended first, and in the other one, they were still top 3, top 4. So it hasn't just been a terrible few years coming out from TheShy. Has been in terms of results, and I think 2021 was a little bit rough, and obviously the moments were always there, but the high highs have been there consistently. Yeah,
again, he has just been a consistently monstrous top laner within the LPL, and right now we can see that he's going to have a little bit of a free time. That's why he went with the Cole. He recognized, look, very unlikely I'm going to be able to kill Hoya pre-level 6, so might as well get that little bit of extra gold and try and work that one out for myself. But we'll see now TT looking to try and make something work in the middle. Ucal goes very aggressive. He does have the Amumu here, but he can't really continue with this because the Ignite came down from Angel. Yao, we were just singing your praises. Lyric thought you were the chosen one, and unfortunately, you've just been sent back to the gray screen.
I gotta say, that was not it. That was not it, Yao. Going in as Ucal's already chunked incredibly low. I don't know if, like, in his mind is thinking, okay, putting some pressure so Ucal could back off, but I think Ucal would have been fine and would have been able to get out of there scot-free. Just giving a free kill over to the side of Weibo.
Yeah, it is. That is rough, because it just looks so forced as well from TT. Yao really putting himself in a bad situation, which honestly he just didn't need to. I think Ucal was out. Like, Ucal even still had flash. He wasn't going to die.
Even putting Ucal in a bad position, considering that Angel was the one who picked up the kill, so gonna be able to come back to lane, already have Sorcerer Shoe, so getting a bit of that magic pen early so he can get some good trades, and then tier Mana Crystal, like he's gonna be able to start spamming some of these spells down. So Weibo so far have just used the game plan of using the pryos they had to get SofM an advantage. TT's comp, the first few levels, can't really do too much. We're really waiting for that level 6 mark before they're able to come online, and they're able to look for those big wombos of, you know, Beichuan Yao jumping in, Ucal able to steal away some impactful ultimates, I think preferably like the TheShy or Ons, and then you really just have that giant death ball coming at you straight from TT.
And TT recognizing they can't just let this one go. Ucal stealing the Weaver's Wall. That's a really nice way of separating Angel from this potential fight. On is in a little bit of trouble. They do get the Hoya in a flash belly bop. SofM now trying to flash away and abscond, abduct, almost catching Huanfeng. But TT loved that play coming out from them, recognizing they had some of the big ultimates you were talking about, and they capitalized over a very way too comfortable Weibo.
I still also want to give some props to Angel for saving his AD carry there, because Huanfeng should have gone down, but the seismic shove was nice. But TT rotating their members over, this was one of the ways where we thought maybe TT would be above Weibo, was in terms of being willing to transfer pressure on the map. We can even see now on the mini-map, look at Ucal. He's making his way up towards top to look for a gank on the TheShy potentially, but looks like not going to end up committing for it in the end.
Yeah, hard to do when you've just used the explosive cast and, of course, the hijack as well, so can't even steal a slicing mill. So let's have a little replay here, because Ucal hits 6, immediately has the Weaver's Wall and says, cool, if I stop Angel from getting here, this is a 4v3.
Separates Angel. We see Hoya coming around from the opposite side, just really nowhere to go. You have so much CC there to knock them down. Huanfeng with a nice flash to buy a bit of distance between himself. We do know that SofM is just dead, but there was that seismic shot from Angel, making sure Huanfeng gets away. But with the pure numbers, with the way they played the fight, TT just able to come out ahead.
Yeah, 100% great play there from TT. I will say, though, TheShy still got a fair bit of free time on the top side. He's turned that into about a 15 CS lead. I'd say about 10 if Hoya can get all of this underneath the tower. And it's going to be tough, though, to try and really deal with TheShy as he starts to hit towards that big, you know, power spike. I imagine he's going to go towards the Proto Belt. Could technically go towards the Night Harvester, but Proto Belt for the extra mobility tends to be what we see in the Kennen builds these days. And Huanfeng's got to be a little bit careful now. Without Flash, without Cleanse, he gets caught by an Amumu. He could just straight up die.
They do have to be very careful, as we see TT have actually put their bot lane in mid. They're just having Ucal cover to try to make sure that they can guarantee this Herald. This does open up Weibo an opportunity if they could posture long enough, because Weibo had man advantage in bot. Of course, it's going to take more time for Ucal to get here. So maybe not the most sound plan coming out for TT, since Weibo always could just look to do this to contest, and that's what they're going to do. So maybe TT actually just going to have to drop drop Prio for Herald overall. I was thinking maybe find a kill onto TheShy first if that's what Yaoyao's looking to do.
And they're not willing to let this Herald go for free, so TheShy now in a little bit of trouble. Will have the Slicing Maelstrom available to him, but he flashes in with the Curse of Stab Mummy. He doesn't get a chance, Lyric, to do anything. They CC lock him, and now we can go back down towards the Herald because you're not a man disadvantage. I don't know if TT want to fight it, though.
For TT, I love how they saw the 1v2 from TheShy last week, and they didn't want to risk it. Just like flash Amumu ulti, look for the play, but we see Solar Flare comes out.
Oh, they do not land it onto Beichuan completely. He does get a little bit of a slow, and now he gets hit by the Zenith Blade. He does get back out with the decoy, but he's been surrounded. He has been taken out, and that will be a nice trade back there for Weibo after the fact that they took down the Rift Herald.
And just teams trading on both sides. Ultimately does come out in favor of Weibo since they went 1-for-1 in kills, and they were the team who ended up picking up the Rift Herald. They did give a bit of freedom to Ucal down in that bottom half of the map, but still not outpacing Angel in terms of farm or even experience coming through.
Yeah, and again, with the Rift Herald, yes, you get a couple of free plates on the bot side, but TheShy can answer that wave now. You get top tier 1, so the map is starting to open up a little bit here for Weibo as TT. They are making good plays, but they're still falling 2,000 behind. It's kind of down, as you said, to these big kind of XP and CS leads that they've been able to accrue for themselves in the solo lanes.
A lot of this is still going to pan out in terms of how fights are able to be taken. The fact that Weibo should be able to have that side lane pressure with how accelerated TheShy is feeling pretty good. And if he can get on top of members, like we said, that's when Weibo will be solid. But TT do have some tools to try to work around that. I want to see them being the more proactive team right now in the mid game and have Yaoyao, Ucal, and Beichuan kind of roaming together like usual and looking to pick off members of Weibo and sides.
I know they want to try and pick him off in the side lanes, but I want to see now what Weibo can do about this. TheShy has got that proto belt. He's at a pretty decent power spike. Still hasn't got boots yet. Still just kind of doing that very slow movement speed. You can see it's a bit of a struggle for the tiny little Yordle to get back up towards that top side as TT now start to push out those waves. The map is starting to open up just a little bit. We're only 11.5 minutes in the game. Still plenty of time for plates and plays, as you say, to be happening. As we can see now on, the Abscond Duck comes in, and he might be in a lot of trouble here. He's trying to put himself in position to knock Ucal back over, but this Sylas is starting to get a bit scary. Everfrost picked up now already. This is the power that we said that this pick can bring. This, isolated skirmishing can be so devastating.
And this was a time we needed to see it, right? As Beichuan?
Wow. Yeah, did not have decoy. He used it already, so that's unfortunate, but he gets himself out, so it's all right.
Oh, and we even have TheShy TPing straight to bot. So they're like, hey, we got top pushed in a little bit. We know Hoya doesn't have that much pushing power to really take that turret down. With Dragon coming up in 10 seconds, they just want to guarantee themselves some prio in bot to force their way into river.
Yeah, they really want to try and stop this Dragon stacking from TT. Like we said, TT, with their composition that they've built for themselves, they want to be fighting 5v5s. They want to be forcing Weibo around these pits, but at the moment, not really in a position to really make that force happen for themselves. So with the amount of resources that Weibo had pushed down towards the spot side, TT will end up forfeiting that Dragon. Beichuan looking maybe for something here. There's a Curse of Stab Mummy coming out there, but there's going to be a Weaver's Wall to separate out everybody else. They will get the Fate's Call to save out the Amumu, is on very, very low. They kind of re-engage this one as Weibo, but it's all a bit tentative. No one really fully committing because they know how powerful every single person's ultimate can be.
I like the respect coming out from Weibo, especially since they know they've already naturally been accruing gold leads just from how the trades have gone out. And the longer the game goes on, I definitely favor what Weibo has to offer. So they are a bit more tempered, despite the fact that they did have a lot of ultis available. I think if you don't have an easy way of getting TheShy on top of multiple members, you're like, hey, we already got the objective. Oh, Huanfeng!
That was so nice to see, but he's still not gone down yet.
Oh,
he's still alive. Oh, Hoya finally takes him out, but TheShy saves it. I gotta call out Hoya. That was fantastic, but what a response from Weibo.
The fact that TT couldn't finish him off and it has to go for a 1-for-1 is so tragic, because like you're saying, Hoya setting that up was beautiful. Huanfeng going just a little bit too far forward, and Ucal Hoya not really able to get enough damage down in time to prevent that from having to be a 1-for-1. So overall, we're kind of in a similar place to where we have been. We are getting more items coming out, though, especially for the side of Weibo. Now also having Ludens in the mid lane. We have the Gale Force power spike for Huanfeng, so can look to play, I guess, as aggressively as we're already seeing him angle to play. And I wonder if we're just going to get a replay of what just happened is Huanfeng playing right in Hoya's face. I mean, he made it easy for Hoya to land, but chains it into the body bop, is able to get some damage down, and Ucal not able to connect with either hit of the Q, which kind of forces Hoya to have to go for the 1-for-1 after the TheShy pops his ulti.
I mean, it was so tragic. It was so well played. Even the fact that he uses the belly bop to get him back into more range of the turret, and rather than using it immediately just to get the CC layering down, fantastic. I do want to bring our attention, you did mention items there very, very quickly. SofM bringing in some new dark technology. What are your thoughts on the Chempunk Chainsword first item on the Viego? Not something I'm particularly familiar with.
So we have been seeing more of this. When the Grievous wounds got hit, it got given 10 more ability haste and 10 more AD. Just in terms of stats, the item's something like 125% gold efficient. So pretty nice, cheap first item spike for a jungler, as SofM might get caught out. We also do have, you know, a lot of healing coming out on the other side, right? Of course, Sylas being the obvious answer, even Gragas with this passive, you know Kalista's going to go towards the Immortal Shield bow. So even with, you know, the nerf Grievous wounds, that even adds on top of it. But just those base stats, man, really cost-efficient item.
Very cost-efficient, does get a big old stat stick basically for yourself. Looks like he's also going towards either a Sunfire or a Frostfire Gauntlet. I imagine it is the Sunfire. Or sorry, the Frostfire, because you get the extra slow. You want to try and give as much sticking power to as you possibly can as the Viego to try and make sure you're being as much of a nuisance as possible. Beichuan looking for something in this mid lane, but Huanfeng does not walk forward. And I gotta say though, with the next Rift Herald spawning, you do not have Flash or Cleanse on your Aphelios. Makes it very difficult for him to plant his feet and do the damage.
Yeah, this one's going to be a bit of a rough one for Weibo to contest.
Ooh, the slicing maelstrom from Ucal. It's not exceptional. He thought he had landed the abduct as On gets himself out of there, so he's not going to die just yet. They've already used the Fate's Call. That's an awful lot used here on the side of TT. And Weibo are looking pretty damn fine. They don't care about the health bar of On because he's the support. It's his job.
That's my problem, is TT just committed so much to only really get damage down on to Weibo's support. You weren't even in a position where like members like Kepler are able to follow up with damage either. It was really only Ucal and Yao Yao able to go in, and then not able to burst him out, of course, right? Being a bit tankier, being a support. Ucal also very defensive in terms of his itemization, Everfrost standard, but already going straight towards the Banshees.
Yeah, getting himself into a much better situation to be defensive, but yeah, Ucal, I feel that slicing also. He felt like he had already caught out the Aphelios, so I admire the commitment to it. But we're going to have it happen all over again, because with these resets coming in, you now have the Rift Herald in the back pocket of SofM. Weibo going to reset now off the top of that. TT get bot lane tier 2, but Dragon in 30 seconds. And we're already starting, actually, you see it's Crown of the Shattered Queen here for Hoya. So he's expecting Burst to come out here. So many interesting builds coming out right now today in this particular first match.
When we look at Weibo's comp, they do have a ton of bursts, right?
Yes.
I mean, TheShy's Kennen, and then Angel's Taliyah hopefully can get, you know, some good damage soaked up. Maybe something like one of the rocks that Taliyah does throw out. But we see TT already trying to force her way into the spot side river. For Weibo, I like what they did. They're trying to manage sideways first. They'd already just pushed out top, and now TheShy answering in bot. They know he is TP, so he's fine to look for that recall. Sadly for Weibo, they don't really have any vision set up behind TT to give TheShy an easier time going in, but they do have that Rift Herald to try to pull TT out, so they have to respond in the lane.
Yeah, well, it looks like TT are kind of saying, look, we don't care about the Rift Herald. We're going to let him get that full push, or her get that full push in that mid lane. There's going to be a I don't think there's going to be the tower just yet, unless, of course, you do see Huanfeng on the bottom left there pushing it in, so that's going to be the tower going down. And that's going to be a confirmed objective for the side of Weibo. Now TT on the Dragon is an Infernal Dragon and an Infernal Rift, so the angles of approach are far more creative, and they find TheShy, they CC him down, and again, he is just locked out of being a participant in that fight.
This is why watching this TT team is so fun. They're so decisive. That came out of nowhere from Hoya and Beichuan, and they're looking to keep going.
They gotta keep going. The Weaver's Wall's gonna come out, but they've only caught out on between a rock and a hard place. Now Beichuan thinking about maybe going forward here. And they're actually trying to just kind of coerce him around. They got Ucal there over the wall. He's got the abscond abduct. He just landed there onto Angel, who flashes away. There's going to be a flash from Ucal because he knows if he gets knocked back by that, he's in trouble. Hoya's still on the hunt, but very difficult to make something else happen. But TT, they're still going tit for tat.
I also like the idea of bringing Ucal around. If the other members had been closer and able to follow up, I mean, there's just nowhere for Weibo to go in that situation. So very clever, very creative play coming out from TT. And the first thing we hit on, the decisiveness, the fact that they weren't afraid to pull the trigger right when the moment was needed.
They pull the trigger, and they get themselves up to a second dragon. Still nowhere really near a soul point. It's about 9 minutes or just about under it. But let's have a look at the replay here, because again, like you said, the decisiveness after the fact to just say, look, they're not going to be able to protect the Shy here. We could just burst him out.
Yeah, he's walking very far forward to get some of this trading down, and Hoya straight E-flash into the ulti to bring him down. They even commit the Amumu ulti. Like, they don't want to take any chances on the Shy not being CC'd and being able to layer any more damage down. They keep following up because they do have that solar flare available. Then with the CC following through from Yao Yao, it's just very easy for TT to guarantee some more kills.
Yeah, I will say, though, when you commit so many ultimates to killing off one member, it makes it very difficult to really get those big AoE ultimates or big AoE fights for TT afterwards. They're not able to get anything else, but they brought the gold back into a little bit more respectful, about 1,500, just a little bit underneath that. So, Weibo, they're slowing down the pace just a little bit, and it's honestly TT who feel like they're owning the momentum as of the moment. They're dictating where and when these fights are being taken place. I will say, though, you have got some significant scaling on the side of Weibo, so the longer this game goes on, TT will find those picks harder and harder to make.
Is SofM kind of playing with fire? I don't know if I move on, Ishino, or if we're gonna see these teams go toe to toe. You look at Hoya, and he's just like menacingly walking around this wall.
Yeah, it's like the SpongeBob thing.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
He's just standing there menacingly. Get out of there, SpongeBob. That's basically what I find Viego players do all the time. They pop up their invisibility or their camouflage, and they just sit in the camouflage and gotta go like, that's it. What am I doing? You don't know. You have to just kind of assume I'm here at all times. But as we come back into reality, we do, of course, as you mentioned, see the Banshee's Veil for Ucal finally being finished up here, so giving himself an extra survivability in those fights. And I will say the kill distribution for TT has been nice as well. You've got basically all of them onto Kepler, giving this Kalista a 2-item, very powerful spike on the Guinzoos on top of the Immortal Shield Bow. So this is still a very good time for TT. If they can find another fight around an objective, I don't know, maybe in a minute 43 seconds, they could be in a fantastic spot to really snowball this away from Weibo. And Weibo, what do they do to kind of try and stop this?
For the side of Weibo, I mean, they're still hitting those nice item breakpoints. Because when you look at plays like before, right, where they were trying to do two things at once, is now maybe finding Beichuan.
Yeah, they're looking for him. We're going to see him use his decoy and the Cyclone. It's not going to be too detrimental. Should be up again before the next fight does happen. But he is still level 10, so actually a significant cooldown on that. He needs to be level 11. There it is. But it's already been used, so he doesn't get the benefit of the lower cooldown.
Yeah, but going back to what you asked me before about what Weibo can do, right? We saw in that last fight that Weibo weren't like wholeheartedly committed to the fight. They were actually just trying to abuse the double Herald charges and posturing around. I still think Weibo are in a place where they can take team fights, but right, they need to be pushing in as a 5-man through river, forcing their way in, and then they have the poke coming out from Angel to try to force members like TT off. Of course, TT are going to look for a decisive engage the second you walk in, so a lot is going to be up to On to soak that damage like we saw him do earlier, and for the Shy to just pop that Slicing Maelstrom pretty much right away. Because if they can kind of counteract that initial engage from TT, they will win out in an extended fight.
All right, well, Banshee's Veil has been picked up there by the Shy, so has a little bit of extra survivability should they just try and turn and burn onto him. Shouldn't be CC'd instantly with that little bit of an extra spell shield. You do have a stopwatch as well for on the side of Ucal. Anna Zhonya's here for Hoya. So Hoya, very defensive build right now. The Shattered Queen into the Zhonya's means that he's not doing as much burst straight up damage, but I think he realizes his job in this is just to find a target, isolate them with the belly bop, and of course with the explosive cast. Now we're going to see both teams start to posture on this dragon. It has spawned, and you do have the Rend available here for TT. They are just putting themselves a 5-man here as the Shy looks for a little bit of a flank. He's not been seen just yet, but TT have got to know that someone's going to be at the top side of this map.
Yeah, I like their formation so far, right? They're having SofM and On play up front to try and soak some of this damage that'll come through, and they're trying to find an angle for the Shy. Just gonna cut them off for Drake.
I love this from the side of Weibo. Angel really does so well to separate them, but they haven't burned down the Drake just yet, and it's actually stolen because the spellbook on Hoya, he had a smite. I didn't even notice it because the spellbook wasn't something we talked about, and they can get away with murder. It was all perfect from Weibo, and they just didn't anticipate the spellbook.
Oh, that's so tragic to come out, and yeah, for the side of Weibo, not able to guarantee that smite. It was very weird as well because it looked like some members of Weibo were really looking to posture for the fight. Like the Shy looked like he was ready to go. We had things like the solar flare thrown out while the wall was still up. Maybe you could have held that a little bit, but We'll get a replay of it here of how it went down. Weibo were trying to force their way into River. We can see On and SofM kind of walking forward and making sure that if an engage come through, it's on one of these members that can survive. But Weibo kind of calling Auden, and they're like, hey, let's just separate them from the Dragon Pit, fully commit. Solar Flare lands. It actually doesn't even connect to anyone, so you're not even buying more time, but again, felt a little bit redundant. His weight on.
He's gotten caught out here. The Stolen Slice, the Maelstrom will stick him to the ground, and Beichuan picks that one up. You're going to see a TP coming in, though. That's going to be TheShy joining in with the team. He has got his own Slice, the Maelstrom, as he wants to try and go for this. Hoya flashes over the back as Ucal's very, very low. They need to fully commit onto TheShy here as the Fate's Call comes out. TheShy flashes away, but he's followed straight away by Beichuan. It looked like maybe TT have overstepped, but they do trade it back 2-for-1. It ends up being a little bit of a scrappy affair, but TT, they're not too unhappy with that. They got their 2 kills, and they only lost 1 member.
No, the fact that TT, again, are just consistently keeping their foot on the gas is a breath of fresh air from where they started this split. It is weird, though, because Weibo are still the team with the gold lead, just coming from some of the CS advantages we have. Specifically, if you look at top and mid lane. And then, right, Weibo were able to get those 2 mid lane turrets earlier. So, still competitive in terms of gold and where we're at in the game. I feel like the biggest difference maker here is just TT being on soul point. Not even necessarily about them if they get soul. It's just them having more options. As Ucal, not going to find anything. But TT now being in the driver's seat means come next Dragon, right, they could trade for gold topside if they don't have a favorable position. They could look to go for maybe a 50-50 smite and just luck out and bank on getting that. We'll go straight into the replay of On. Walks up to get a ward. He kind of ends up just getting caught out.
Yeah, he just straight up got caught. And you can see Weibo, they know that they need to try and maybe hard force this because a lot was used just to kill the support. Great, actually, side from Shove there. We're going to come straight back out of this as Kepler has been caught out. Used his cleanse, but I don't know if he's going to get out of that. And honestly, without the Kalista, Weibo might feel confident to go for this Baron. They're going to try and posture around it.
I wouldn't be surprised if Weibo go for it. That is the big member on the side of TT, sitting at 3 items. He's a full item up, even the second strongest member on their side. Even if you don't get the Baron, if you can try and find a fight with numbers advantage while you do still have things like the Slicing Maelstrom up and Moonlight Vigil up soon, that's what Weibo are banking on.
Yeah, because your damage source was that Kalista. There's a good seismic shove on the Yaya, who has to use his stopwatch to keep himself safe, but don't know how safe he's going to be. Angel gets a little bit caught out there. The Slicing Maelstrom's going to be good to kill off Yaya, but TheShy trying to run away here from the Cyclone. He still keeps himself alive and healthy, gets the stun down as they kill off the Gragas as well. Beichuan kind of feeling all alone right now. A TP coming in from Ucal to try and save his jungler, but it's exactly like you talked about, Lyric. They knew they had the advantage. They went for the big fight.
And they're going to just go straight back to the Baron. Now Ucal is here, has a Solar Flare. Can he make a hero play work with Kepler on his way?
I mean, Kepler is trying to make his way towards that mid lane. TheShy is still very, very low and does not have himself a TP. Solar Flare comes out, maybe just to try and stop some recalls, but at the end of it all, Weibo find themselves the Baron and a 6,000 gold lead off of 1 pick.
And we'll go straight into the replay to see how it happened. Weibo, after finding the pick onto the Kalista, were confident going for it. Some good damage coming out onto Yao Yao. And TheShy just commits on one side of the fight. He's marking 3 members right now. It lets Weibo easily just bring down Hoya because it looked like Ucal had already used his Abscond of Duck and it wasn't able to connect. And then with Weibo finishing off Hoya, they can just keep running forward to get this 3rd kill onto Beichuan.
This is why you can't really count out TT, or sorry, Weibo, I should say. I was going to praise TT for how they've been able to kind of approach this game so cohesive, so on the nose with how they wanted to go for engages. But now, 35 seconds till the Dragon spawns. This is soul for TT. It doesn't matter if you're 6,000 gold behind. That soul will drag that gold deficit right the way back up. I don't know if Weibo know that there are 3 men of TT stacked here. They're kind of pinging on it frantically on the mini-map, but I'm not quite sure if they know exactly where they are. They finally drop them down, and now TheShy can fully commit on top of this one here, but TheShy now getting locked out of this one here with the Curse of Stab Money. TheShy is dead. They trade it back for the support, but that's a trade you take any day of the week here as a side of TT. You can see Angel trying to see if he can catch out Kepler, but Kepler using that martial pose as Beichuan goes down on the backside of this one here. Nice Moonlight Vigil, and SofM finally gets on top of his mark. TT, they knew they had to go for something, but Weibo, they just sniffed it out.
Weibo able to find the desperation play coming from TT, because TT, after losing that fight and losing that Baron, should know, hey, we're a bit behind and we're definitely getting outscaled. Kepler, though, didn't have any summoners, so TT were really going for the full-on Hail Mary looking for that. Weibo now able to push up with the Baron minions, and Ucal, better be careful, buddy. You're playing with fire.
Yeah, an Infernum gun as well. They have got the Calibrum as well, but Huanfeng does actually have to use his cleanse. He did take a little bit of an unfortunate trade there, as the tower did turn onto him. The solo player doesn't really do a lot, as Huanfeng knows he's just in a much more powerful, much more secure position here. And now, 8,000 gold up. Weibo, they're starting to really put the pressure on the TT. And TT aren't out of it just yet, but it's so hard to really make this stick. We talk about how longer this game goes on, the harder and harder it becomes for TT as we're going to look at this replay. Because again, Weibo just knows something's up. They know that they're going to be probably in here because they haven't shown anywhere else on the map.
Oh yeah, and also spotting Beichuan when they're finally kind of giving up on the play, maybe looking to walk around a posture. Slicing Maelstrom able to come through. Doesn't really matter that the lockdown's there from the Amumu because Kepler had already gone golden, so not able to dish out any DPS. And now Weibo able to keep running down Kepler. Doesn't matter how much he thinks he's able to kite out because we do have members with a lot of mobility like SofM able to chase it down. Good Moonlight Vigil coming out from Huanfeng as well to guarantee the damage. And, well, Yao Yao's gone.
Yeah, Yao Yao's gone. That's your primary engage, no longer available to you now. Yes, you can go in with a flash belly bop and Hoya, but not really ideal in this circumstance. And now Angel thinking about maybe finding somebody. He finds Kepler, which means Kepler's not going to be able to clear out these minions. Weibo might just turn around and try and take the entire base. They're going to chip away at everything TT own and love, and there's nothing they can do about it.
No, they're confident. They're playing right in the faces of 4 members. And sure, some members of... Oh, okay, that was just a clone. Still actually did a respectable amount of damage to the actual Beichuan, but we're going to see them just keeping up this pressure. They have a second wave funneling in now, and TheShy's just constantly hovering in mid lane, so they have to think about these different angles that Weibo can potentially force a dive on.
Yeah, and there's going to be the Weaver's Wall coming out. There's a stop Hoya from escaping, and he's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. Actually, he's caught between a rock and an SofM, who is just pushing himself in. The flank of days from Ucal. He's going to TP in. He's got a stolen slicing Maelstrom, and maybe they go for a big fight. They have to try and throw something here. There's no vision on this whatsoever. Ucal, you're going to be a hero or a zero. Here we go. He's trying to get onto the backside here. He flashes in. They do find it onto the side of the Aphelios, but TheShy says, anything you can do, I can do better. But TT are still pushing to fight this one. It's a 3v2. SofM trying to make this one work now. It's just Angel versus the world. He's 3v1. The decoy deep ended up baiting me just a little bit. He flashes away. They flash forward. He's doing so well. We've seen this before. Angel survives and gets them all back. TT, they throw the miracle Hail Mary, and they do find something.
Oh my god, the fact, like the seismic shove, hitting so many Qs, Angel making it work. I do gotta say though, this is still an overall win for TT to actually be able to find a competitive fight coming out from that flank from Ucal. You can see the difference. They took down Weibo's AD carry to where Kepler was left untouched that whole time, able to skirt around the members of Weibo. And let's be real, it doesn't really change the state of the game. They're still 7k gold behind, but the fact that they're able to buy more time is huge. And we'll see here, like you said, going for the flank of the century, pretty much going straight to the Baron pit. You can see Weibo have an idea that something is up with the way they're kind of walking back, and TT are walking forward. Yao finds the initial engage, are able to stun Huanfeng, and once the Slicing Maelstrom comes in and Beichuan even flashing to guarantee that, everything does work out. But Slicing Maelstrom only gets Kepler at about half HP, and then with the amount of life steal he has, he's able to get good and healthy again. Without SofM or Angel able to instantly reconnect onto the Kalista, they do just run Angel down, but I mean, he kites this one out perfectly.
Yeah, they had to use so much, though, on the side of TT to make that one work. Look at the lack of flashes now available to you. You've got basically Hoyas, and that's it. I will say they did burn a lot on the side of Weibo as well, but just so hard to really make that one work. And now they've got a GA here onto Kepler, so he's going to have a little bit of a better situation. And it's just going to be hard for them to really make this one work. Ucal looking to try and trade solo players, but they get themselves on the top of this one. This is ongoing in, but a curse to Sam Mummy into the explosive cast, and they're able to get the GA immediately. Huanfeng, though, still doing well. And TheShy with the slicing Maelstrom right onto the backside. Kepler knows he needs to do something. I will say that Beichuan's doing some significant damage, but can they kite this one out? They cannot. SofM's getting his reset. You can see the triple kill for TheShy. And unfortunately for TT, they threw everything in the kitchen sink, but it's all gone to nothing because at the end of the day, they're just too far behind.
And now Weibo can look for the end. TheShy has TP. They already have so many minions funneling into the base. But that's exactly what Weibo are going to look for.
Yeah, On doesn't matter if he dies here either, because he's going to be able to try and get Hoya out. He's going to have a Shield of Daybreak. Will sacrifice his life there as the Nexus turrets do fall. Weibo, they had to work for it, but they do eventually take game one. You can see Yao Yao thinking about how he's going to try and engage onto this one here, but he's a sad little Amumu. And as we all know, Amumu has no friends.
Nope, but Weibo have lots of friends today because, you know, all those Weibo fans who maybe are always a little bit shy about being like, I love Weibo. People like Munchos are not shy, but now they come in. Weibo just looking solid overall. This game was scrappy. This game was messy, yes, no doubt. But some of those fights were so fun to watch. Even that last fight, it felt like TT had as good of a setup as they really could find with the Amumu into the Gragas. But we saw TheShy able to find members in the back to hit the Slicing Maelstrom on, and more importantly, Huanfeng able to survive a lot of that initial burst as well, get off a good amount of damage before the game ends. So this game was just another highlight reel of LPL team fighting that is so exciting to see. And at the end of the day, Weibo come out ahead. I feel like we did see strong performances from members we expected, like, you know, TheShy being ahead early, SofM kind of keeping up, him being willing to pressure early on. It wasn't as much about lanes, but just using his pryos this game to really abuse Beichuan in the jungle. And then for Weibo and their team fighting, it's been pretty solid all year long. So not too surprising to see them able to take it once they were able to find those early gold leads.
I will say as well, I really have been impressed with Angel so far this split, and I think that he's really showing us that 2021 form where he was able to, or sorry, not 2021, excuse me, 2020 form, where they, of course, on Suning and stuff like that, going to Worlds, he was exceptionally, you know, powerful on so many different meta picks at the time. Things like the Taliyah, the Sylas, even the respect bat, the Twist of Fate, which nobody is picking, not even the likes of RNG, because you just have to respect it. On the side of Angel, he just knows how to use that champion, so really nicely done there from the side of Weibo. And I will say, look, yes, TT did lose, but they kept it competitive. I think TT were constantly keeping Weibo honest in this game, and that was the important thing to see from them. They didn't just lay down and die. This wasn't just a one-sided affair. They nearly got themselves onto Infernal Soul and gave a lot for Weibo to think about.
Right, and like, I feel like we saw the ugly and the beautiful from TT in this game, where we have like moments like Yao Yao in the mid lane early on, kind of giving up his life to the side of Weibo. But then some of those engages and just the trigger pool was so great to see. Hoya especially, I think, had a lot of like really solid moments, you know, going back to when he caught out TheShy when they were looking for that Herald play on mid, and then just some of the synergy coming through for TT. But still, there were some lost fights as well to where Weibo were able to pull out ahead. But the fun thing about this game is it shows, you know, maybe we are looking at like a really competitive series that could potentially bring us a distance when both of these teams are teams that right now I'd love to see in playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. I think both these teams we would definitely expect to see Weibo, TT a little bit more of a question mark, but again, just kind of, it just echoes to the point that the LPL is so damn competitive. You cannot take anything as a guarantee in this league. And I think, again, look, we talked about how SofM and how when he is performing and he's able to kind of, you know, set up his team, it does end up being successful for Weibo. 80% kill participation, he was kind of at the catalyst of everything alongside Angels, so it really does show that finally now in the later half of the season, Weibo are starting to get that cohesiveness that we know they can. They have some of the highest highs and arguably some of the lowest lows as well, but they are a team to be trifled with, and as we saw, you know, last week,